Good morning. Hopefully you can hear me. I know you can because you sit next to me. Ha! We plays in the same living room. So at the top today, I would like to ask for prayers for my sister and her husband. They are staying with us for right now because their apartment got flooded. Um, they came today to start tearing everything apart and redo the whole apartment. So they are in need of pretty much everything: beds, couches, all of it. So if you can, I have a GoFundMe going. Lily can put that in the chat if she wants to. Then if anybody can donate $1 even is greatly appreciated for that. Other than that, this is an AA meeting, and I have Lily here, of course, my twin sister, best friend, Shirley, my sweet lady, so kind to everybody in Canada. Welcome to AA, and anybody that is in the replay, thank you. If you don't leave a comment, I understand. Not everybody wants to tell everyone that they're a recovering alcoholic or that they're struggling. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. I'm Sandra, and I'm an alcoholic. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I didn't put anything in the description of what we're reading because it is on my phone. And yeah, I don't know how to link it to my live stream yet. Maybe if I get the app on the Chromebook, it will let me do it. Anyways. 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continue to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So like I said, I am reading from my phone. It is the daily reflection app that I have. They have all kinds of stuff on here. So I am reading Living Sober. I think I'm on... I think I'm on like 12. No. I'm just going to go back through 11 because I'm not sure if that was what I read last or not. So, availing yourself of a sponsor. Not every AA member has had a sponsor, but thousands of us say we would not be alive were it not for the special friends of one recovered alcoholic. In the first months and years of our sobriety. In the earliest days of AA, the term sponsor was not in the AA jargon. Then a few hospitals in Akron, Ohio and New York began to accept alcoholics under that diagnosis as patients if sober AA members would agree to sponsor the sick man or woman. The sponsor took the patient to the hospital, visited him or her regularly, was present when the patient was discharged, and took the patient home. And then to an AA meeting. At the meeting, the sponsor introduced the newcomer to other happily non-drinking alcoholics. Although the early months of recovery, the sponsor, I just lost my spot again. If I swipe too far on my phone, it closes out what I'm doing. It's a pain in the tush. Although the early months of recovery, the sponsor stood by ready to answer questions or to listen whenever needed. Sponsorship turned out to be such a good way to help people get established in AA that it has become a custom followed throughout the AA world, even when hospitalization is not necessary. Often, the sponsor is the first person to call on a problem drinker who wants help, or the first recovered alcoholic to talk with the inquiry if he or she goes to an AA office, or the AA member volunteer unit, a hospital or correctional facility. At AA meetings, people often recommend that an AA beginner get a sponsor, and it is left up to the newcomer to pick someone as his or her sponsor if one is wanted. One reason it is a good idea to have a sponsor is that if you have friendly guide during those first days and weeks when AA seems strange and new, before you feel you know your own way about. Besides, a sponsor can spend far more time with you and give you far more individual attention than a busy professional helper possibly could. Sponsors make house calls even at night. If you do have a sponsor, some of the following suggestions may help. Remember, they are based on thousands of AA's experience over many, many years. I think it's you, Shirley. I'm still here, moving. I still frozen? Okay. I didn't want to keep reading if you couldn't hear. It's usually better if men sponsor men and women sponsor women. This helps avoid the possibility of romance rearing its lovely head, a development which can hideously complicate it, if not destroy the sponsor-newcomer relationship. By trial and error, we've discovered that sex and sponsorship are a very bad mix. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to say that word, but I did. Bleep it out. I don't know how to edit, but just ignore that word. Whether or not we like what our sponsor suggests, and sponsors can only suggest, they cannot make anybody do anything or actually prevent an action. The fact is that sponsor has been sober longer, known pitfalls to avoid, and may be right. C. An AA sponsor is not a professional caseworker or counselor of any sort. A sponsor is not someone to borrow money from, nor get clothes, jobs, or food from. A sponsor is not a medical expert, nor qualified to give religious, legal, domestic, or psychiatric advice. Although a good sponsor is usually willing to discuss such matters confidently and often can suggest where the appropriate professional assistance can be obtained. A sponsor is simply a sober alcoholic who can help solve only one problem: how to stay sober. And the sponsor has only one tool to use: personal experience, not scientific wisdom. Sponsors have been there, and they often have more concern, hope, compassion, and confidence for us than we have for ourselves. They certainly have had more experience. Remembering their own condition, they reach out to help, not down. Someone has said alcoholics may be people who should never keep secrets about themselves, especially the guilty kind. Being open about ourselves helps prevent that, and can be a good antidote for any tendency towards excessive self-concern and self-consciousness. A good sponsor is someone who can confide in, get everything off our chest with. Darn it, I did it again. Okay. D. If agreeable, when the sponsor is congenial, someone who shares our backgrounds and interests beyond sobriety, but it is not necessary in many instances. The best sponsor is someone totally different. The most unlikely pairing of sponsor and newcomer sometimes work the best. Sponsors, like most everyone else, are likely to have some family and job obligations, although a sponsor will on occasion leave work or go home to help a newcomer in a real bind. There are naturally times when the sponsor is truly out of reach. Here is the opportunity for many of us to use our reawakening wits and figure out a substitute for a sponsor. If we genuinely, blah, blah. Words are hard today. Desire help. We do not let a sponsor illness or momentarily unavailability for any other reason to stop us from getting some help. We can try to find a nearby AA meeting. We can read AA literature or sometimes something else we have found helpful. We can telephone other recovered alcoholics we have met, even if we don't know them very well. And we can telephone or visit the nearest AA office or clubroom for AA members. Even if the only person we find to talk to is someone we have not met before, we're sure to encounter sincere interest and desire to help in any AA member we reach. When we really level about our distress, true empathy is forthcoming. Sometimes we get really needed encouragement for recovered alcoholics we do not much care for. Even if such a feeling is mutual, when one of us trying to stay sober asks any other recovered alcoholic to help us not drink, and petty and superficial differences melt away. Some people think it is a good idea to have more than one sponsor, so at least one is always likely to be available. This plan has one additional advantage, but also carries a slight risk. The risk is having several sponsors rather than just one. Lies in a tendency some of us deploy or develop during our non-drinking days. In order to protect ourselves and keep our drinking beyond criticism, we often told different tales to different people. We even learned how to manipulate people in a sense, so the people environment would practically condone or even encourage our drinking. We may not have been aware of this tendency, and it was usually lacking in any evil intent. But it really became a part of our personalities in our drinking days. So a few of us with a clutch of sponsors have caught ourselves trying to play off one sponsor against another, telling one thing to the first and something else to the second. This doesn't always work. Since sponsors are hard to kid, they catch on pretty fast to the tricks of everyone wanting to drink. They catch on pretty fast to I already read that part. But sometimes we can keep it at it until we get one sponsor to say something directly opposite to what another sponsor has said. Maybe we manage to wangle out of somebody what we want to hear, not what we need. Or at least we interpret this sponsor's words to suit our wishes. Sorry, it's about the Pirates. Being recovered alcoholics themselves, sponsors naturally have their own unique strengths and foibles. The sponsor or any other human being without flaw or weakness hasn't turned up yet, as far as we know. It is a rare occurrence, but it is possible that we can be misled or given a bum steer by a sponsor, mistaken advice, as we've all found by doing it ourselves. Even what the next sentence will say, a sponsor's unfortunate behavior is no more a valid excuse for taking a drink than anything else is. The hand that pours a drink down your throat is still your own. Rather than blame the sponsor, we found that at least 30 other ways to stay away from a drink. Those 30 are laid out in the other section of this booklet, of course. Hi, Tony. H. You are under no obligation ever to repay your sponsor in any way for helping you. He or she does so because helping others help us maintain our own sobriety. You are free to accept or reject help. If you accept it, you have no debt to repay. Sponsors are kind and tough, not for credit and not because they like to do good work. A good sponsor is as much help as to sponsor someone. Someday you may want to pass such help on to someone else. That the only thanks you need give. Like a good patient, a wise sponsor can let the newcomer alone when necessary, can let the newcomer make his or her own mistakes. Burned. Whatever that word means, I have no clue. A sharp sponsor tries hard to keep vanity and hope feelings out of the way in sponsorship. And the best sponsors are really delighted when the newcomer is able to step out past the stage of being sponsored. Not that we ever have to go it all together alone. But the time does come when even a young bird must use its own wings and start its own family. Happy flying. So I'm gonna stop at that. Um, I I'm 11 years and 9 months sober, and I still have a sponsor. I like to have my sponsor because if I'm ever in a spot where I desperately need the words from my sponsor, I can call her and she can give me the answer of what I should do. Um, what she would think would be a great thing for me to do. Just as I was a newcomer and I did that also. I, however, was in contact with my sponsor more often. But I see her here twice a week. And this is what having her as a sponsor and having AA in my life has done, is given me the courage to share my story and do these meetings with the world. Because not everybody knows that there's help out there. And not everybody knows that you can get sober and stay sober and live happy. Um, I'm not necessarily happy every single day. I do have my days where I don't want to deal with anything and I'm in a bad mood. But for the most part, I try to just not be in that bad mood. Some things set me off, but like my sister's dog, Pippi barks and barks and barks, and I'm not used to it. So we're both always yelling at her, shut up! But, you know, she is keeping Ryder company and they get along great. Unless if one of them accidentally grabs one of their lips too hard and bites a little, then they're not too friendly. But, AA has taught me ways of dealing with stressful situations like we are all in right now. Um, Having 5 people under one roof and 2 dogs. It's chaotic, it's crazy. But I have a 3 bedroom. The third room is not being used. So, and they live right here, right next door. And so it was, to me, it was the good thing to do. And I do help her with her sobriety as well. She's been sober 11 years and 1 month, right? Yeah. But we do still have those people in our family and our friends that may not understand what it's like to be around a new alcohol non-drinker, I should say, recovering alcoholic. Because when we're first getting sober, it can be crazy, and a lot of people don't know how to handle or be around somebody that is newly sober, and going through all the navigations of getting AA help and becoming sober, because it can be quite difficult for the alcoholic to be sober at that time. And I know for me, I was sober about 3 months before I went to AA. I think I got sober in November. I think I started AA in March, if I'm right, of 2015. 2014. Anyway, but it was, for me, I picked my sponsor because she answered her phone after my first meeting. I was not sociable. I did not talk to anybody other than my friend and my husband. I didn't even say my own name. My husband said my name. And he said that I was a recovering alcoholic. I had known that for quite a while. I got sober for a year, and when I finally decided to get sober that first time, I had admitted I was an alcoholic, and I wanted to be sober. But I didn't have AA at that time. When I came to AA, it was different for me because I couldn't hear most of them talking, but I still wanted to keep going. And so I started reading lips and wearing my hearing aid so that way I could hear what was going on. And when I got to where I was settled on my emotions and stuff, well, I gotta say, when I first hit my 1 year mark, my sponsor was like, "You're chairing this meeting." And I looked at her and like, "Huh? I don't think so." "Oh, yes, you are." And so for the birthdays at that time for a while, if it was your birthday, not the exact day, because obviously you don't go to a meeting on your birthday most of the time, unless it happens to fall on a meeting day. But I did that. I chaired my first ever meeting and I was scared. I had not a clue what I was doing. But I chaired that meeting. Next thing my sponsor did, and I thank her a lot for it all, was she signed me up to be a speaker at another group. And I was like, you just signed me up for that? Why? But I did it. And I started using my voice at that point. And I have never not told somebody that I'm a recovering alcoholic. And that I go to AA. And that I do AA meetings online. And that everybody's welcome to be here. That you don't have to be in the chat. Or you don't even have to leave a comment. Just hit the like button. That will be good enough. And just know that there's a lot of help for all of us for getting sober and staying sober and living a good life sober. Living a happy life sober. Things that we never thought we could. And found AA and now we can. And so I just have to say it works for me. And I hope it works for you. And I hope that you can find the peace and a great sponsor to help you get through all those new days and new steps and new traditions that you're going to learn for your own sobriety. And just keep coming. It does work. You just have to give it time. So, with that, I'm going to end the meeting. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. I will be live again on Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it will be another AA meeting. And we'll read 12, I think. I think it's number 12. Anyways. I love you guys. And remember, if you're struggling today with alcohol or the other stuff, please know that there's help, and just reach out to somebody. You never know who knows where they can find an AA meeting. Google it if you have to. If you don't have a phone, I think there's a 1-800 number somewhere in a book, which you can find the books at the libraries. And there's AA absolutely everywhere. Every country, every state. So just know that you're not alone. There's a lot of us that need the help to get sober and stay sober, and it works. So, but like I said, I'm Sandra, and I'm an alcoholic, and I'm going to close out the meeting with a serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I love you guys. Keep coming back. It works if you work it.